Claire didn't scream at first. She stood in the kitchen, arms crossed, staring at the cracked wall clock like it personally mocked her. The ticking was loud. Each second sounded expensive. "I'm done," she said quietly. Michael looked up from the table. Unpaid bills were spread in front of him like evidence in a trial. Electricity, rent, credit cards, all overdue. "Done with what?" he asked, already knowing the answer. "With this life," she snapped. "With counting coins. With apologizing for you." He stood up slowly. "Claire, listen. I told you, I'm close. The project is almost." She turned so fast it shocked him. "Don't say it," she said. "Don't say almost again. I've been hearing almost for 3 years." She opened a folder and threw it onto the table. "Divorce papers. I married a man," she continued, her voice trembling now. "Not a walking excuse." Michael felt heat rush to his face. "We promised." She laughed. Cold. Sharp. "I promised myself I wouldn't die poor," she said. "And staying with you feels exactly like that." She leaned closer. "I'm tired of being the only adult in this marriage." Something inside Michael cracked. Michael reached for the papers, but his hands were shaking. "Please," he said quietly. "Let's not do this like enemies." Claire opened the apartment door. "Wide. So they can hear?" he asked. "Yes," she replied. "I'm done protecting your pride." Her voice rose instantly. "You're pathetic, Michael," she shouted. "A complete failure." He felt every word land like a slap. "Lower your voice," he whispered. "No," she said loudly. "I lowered my standards for you. For years." A neighbor's door opened across the hall. Someone pretended to check their phone. Claire didn't care. "Look at you," she continued. "No savings. No future. No respect. My friends laugh behind my back." "That's not true," Michael said, though he wasn't sure anymore. She shoved the papers into his chest. "I'm embarrassed to be your wife," she said. "Do you understand that?" Embarrassed. Silence followed. Then she added, quietly but cruelly, "You will never be more than this." That sentence stayed with him longer than the divorce. Michael didn't take much with him. A backpack, a phone charger, and the weight of everything he hadn't become. He slept in his car that night, parked 2 streets away from the apartment. The seat wouldn't recline fully, so his neck hurt. He didn't turn on the engine. Gas cost money. The city looked different from the driver's seat. Smaller. Colder. He opened his banking app. Balance, $38.71. Michael stared at the number longer than he should have. He didn't panic. He didn't cry. He just felt exposed. He remembered Claire's words from years ago, said jokingly back then. "I can't love potential forever." Back then, he laughed. Tonight, the sentence echoed like a verdict. Michael leaned his head back against the seat and closed his eyes. Cars passed by. Somewhere, people were laughing. Living. "I'm not lazy," he whispered to no one. "I'm not stupid." But doubt crept in anyway. What if she was right? What if this was his ceiling? He took out his laptop, balanced it on his knees, and opened the project file one more time. Lines of code. Diagrams. Notes scribbled at 3 a.m. months ago. "This is it," he said quietly. "This either saves me, or proves I deserve everything she said." The next morning, Michael walked into the co-working space like nothing had happened. Same cheap coffee. Same scratched desk. Same tired faces chasing ideas no one respected yet. He sat down and opened his email. One unread message. Subject line, "Final confirmation, investment approved." He froze. For a moment, he didn't open it. Fear stopped him. Not hope. Hope had betrayed him before. Finally, he clicked. The words blurred as his eyes filled with tears. Approved. Funded. Effective immediately. Michael covered his mouth. This was it. The meeting he almost canceled. The pitch Claire refused to attend. The idea she called cute. It worked. He leaned back and laughed silently, shoulders shaking. A few people glanced at him. He didn't care. That morning, the same morning Claire threw divorce papers in his face, Michael officially became a multimillionaire. But he didn't feel powerful, he felt tired. And strangely calm. He closed his laptop and whispered, "You'll never know." Not out of anger. Out of clarity. Claire didn't feel guilty. That surprised her. She expected sadness, maybe doubt. But instead, she felt light, like someone who finally dropped a heavy bag after carrying it for too long. Within weeks, her life began to change. New apartment. Smaller, but cleaner. Better location. New clothes. Brighter colors. Fewer discounts. New photos on social media, smiling, wine glasses raised. captions about new beginnings. When friends asked about Michael, she sighed dramatically. I tried, she said. You can't save someone who doesn't want to be saved. That sentence made her feel responsible. Mature. Right. Men noticed her quickly. Confidence looks attractive when it's mixed with relief. She started going out more. Networking events. Dinners. Places Michael always said they couldn't afford. One evening, someone mentioned his name again. Do you ever think about him? A friend asked. Claire shrugged. Honestly, I'm embarrassed I waited that long. She didn't check his social media. She assumed there was nothing to see. In her mind, Michael stayed exactly where she left him, struggling, explaining, apologizing. And that made it easier to sleep at night. Daniel entered Claire's life like a finished product. No struggle stories. No dreams in progress. Just results. He wore expensive watches casually, like they meant nothing. He talked about investments the way other people talked about weather. This restaurant, he said once. I almost bought it. Claire laughed, impressed. This felt safe. Daniel paid without looking at prices. He booked trips last minute. He never said maybe someday. One night, after too much wine, Claire told him about Michael. He was ambitious, she said carefully. But ambition doesn't pay bills. Daniel smirked. So you upgraded? Yes, she replied without hesitation. When Daniel proposed, it was public. Loud. Expensive. Applause everywhere. As Claire said yes, she felt victorious. Not because she loved him deeply, but because she had proven something. To herself, to her past, to the man she left behind. She had chosen right. Or so she believed. 3 years passed quietly. Michael didn't disappear. He became invisible by choice. No interviews. No social media. No headlines with his face. He built companies through holding firms. Signed contracts through lawyers. Let other names take the spotlight. Power, he learned, worked best when it stayed silent. One afternoon, an envelope waited on his desk. Cream-colored. Heavy paper. Gold letters. He knew what it was before opening it. Claire and Daniel. Wedding invitation. Michael exhaled slowly. Inside, everything screamed luxury. Venue. Date. Dress code. At the bottom, a handwritten note caught his attention. I hope you come. I think it's important for closure. And I want you to see that I'm happy. He read it twice. Closure. That word again. People never ask for closure when they've won. They ask for it when they want confirmation. Michael leaned back in his chair and looked out the window. The venue name was printed in bold. He smiled faintly. Because the building belonged to one of his companies. Claire didn't know. Daniel didn't know. No one did. He placed the invitation back in the envelope. Yes, he said quietly. I'll come. The wedding day arrived like a performance. Luxury cars lined the entrance. Guests stepped out dressed in confidence and money. Laughter echoed through the open doors of the venue. Inside, Claire moved carefully, every step rehearsed. She smiled constantly, afraid that if she stopped, doubt might slip through. Everything perfect? Daniel asked, straightening his tie. Perfect, she replied. Then the doors opened again. A black car stopped outside. Not flashy, just expensive. A man stepped out. Tall, calm, familiar in a way she couldn't place. Claire's smile hesitated. As Michael walked inside, conversation slowed. People glanced, then looked again. Something about him felt different. Who is that? Someone whispered. Michael didn't search for Claire. He didn't scan the room. He walked like someone who belonged everywhere. When their eyes finally met, Claire felt a strange tightness in her chest. For the first time in years, she wasn't sure who had really upgraded. The ceremony was about to begin. Guests took their seats, phones ready, smiles practiced. Soft music filled the hall. Claire stood at the altar, breathing carefully, afraid her chest might betray her nerves. Then a man in a dark suit stepped toward the microphone. I apologize for the brief interruption, he said calmly. The room quieted instantly. There seems to be a small administrative detail that needs clarification. Daniel frowned. Claire felt her stomach tighten. This venue, the man continued, is owned by Carter Holdings. A pause. And the owner of Carter Holdings is Mr. Michael Carter. Whispers exploded. Claire's head turned slowly. Michael stepped forward. No spotlight. No drama. Just truth. Daniel stared at him, confused. Is this some kind of joke? Michael shook his head. No, he said quietly. Just a fact. Claire's lips parted, but no sound came out. Michael looked at her, really looked. You were right, he said evenly. I was poor. The silence stretched. Just not forever. The words didn't sting. They landed. Michael didn't cancel the wedding. He didn't embarrass Claire further. He paid for everything. The venue, the catering, the music, all of it. Because real revenge isn't destruction. It's contrast. Claire avoided his eyes for the rest of the night. Every smile felt borrowed. Every compliment sounded hollow. Daniel said nothing. For the first time, money wasn't protecting him. As Michael prepared to leave, Claire finally approached. "You could have told me," she whispered. Michael smiled gently. "No," he replied. "You already decided who I was." She swallowed. "I made a mistake." He nodded. "Yes," he said. "You did." Then he added, without anger, "And I needed that mistake to become who I am." Michael walked away as guests watched silently, not shocked by his wealth, but by his restraint. Because the most painful lesson isn't that someone became rich. It's realizing you left right before everything changed. People don't leave because you're poor. They leave because they stop believing. And sometimes, letting them leave is the beginning of everything.